Welcome, good morning, and we are very happy to be here today, and we hope that Anna is joining us now spontaneously on Zoom. She was supposed to... hi, good morning, Anna. Can everybody see you? Perfect, yeah, we designed the talk, and it will be a panel conversation, and we would love to have a lovely conversation and vivid conversation about art NFT collecting and what is different. This is the big question that I wanted to have a look on with these wonderful three more ladies. We are coming, some of us from the traditional art world, we are, some of us are advisors in the NFT space, and what role and potential does this NFT hype and the developments of the technology has for art NFTs, has for the traditional art world, and what are the motivations behind the art collecting or art NFT collecting. And we have three panelists, and maybe you can do the next slide because I don't have a clicker. And I would first like to introduce Anna Graf. Anna is Director NFT at misa.art. And Anna was already advising in NFTs for quite a while and joined misa.art in 2021 in December. And it's, I think, very interesting because misa.art is a platform for contemporary art, and we will hear a little bit more about that and the perspective from Anna later. Then we have Kerstin Gold. Kerstin is also co-founder of the recently released ART+TECH report, Art NFT Collecting, and I have the great pleasure to work with Kerstin and two more wonderful ladies from Berlin on the project, and we are an initiative that is really questioning and asking for what is going on behind the collectors who are engaged in the art NFT world. Kerstin is also a market strategist or art market strategist, and as a consultant. So you also have different perspectives from the market, from the traditional and the NFT world. And then we have Diane Drubay. She is in the advisory of arts and culture of Tezos ecosystem. But you're also an artist yourself. You are also, you founded also a museum, or you have an initiative about the future of museums. And so, yeah, I think we have a wonderful start to think about and talk about art NFTs and maybe finding out, and this is something that we want to question, if there is a difference in the arts to the rest of the NFT, if there is a difference in the art NFT to the traditional art collecting. And I actually wanted to start with a very hardcore first question. And it's really an opening question. What makes a good art NFT for you, Diane?
That's a very hard question for a Thursday morning. Yeah. So first, I think it's good to remind that NFT art doesn't mean much. Most of the time it's actually digital art being minted as an NFT. And then you have real NFT art, which is actually on-chain art, or you can call it crypto art, which is actually using blockchain as a medium for new artistic practice. And then I think that this is very strong difference that we need finally to understand, and we need to adapt the way we talk about NFT art. Because there is a big difference. And then, of course, you have collectibles, you have PFPs. When you talk about NFT art, when people are talking about NFT art, it's digital art, but it can be also, paintings being digitized and then being sold as NFTs. It can be gifts, it can be 3D objects, it can be virtual reality experiences. Like everything can be turned into an NFT. And then NFT is just basically the receipt that you have when you buy digital art. And what is fabulous with this is that finally digital art is finding its market, and finally digital art can find a certain kind of scarcity, while for decades digital artists were actually producing but couldn't really find a way to sell and actually meet collectors. But what is your...
Yeah, I know it's a very hard question in the morning, and of course it could be the same question: what is good art for you? But I like what you said, because it's about digital art at the beginning, and it's not about the technology NFT, but they use it. This is also my way to approach it. But Anna, I'm asking you the same question: what makes a good art NFT for you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me remote. I'm a little bit ill, sorry if my voice breaks in between. I totally agree with what Diane said. For me also, when looking for curation for misa.art, also König Gallery, I like the innovative aspects. I also like, for example, I don't know if you've heard about the Neuschäfer NFT, how we brought this real-life exhibition on the blockchain through code. So I think we have so many new options through the technology now to not only create new art, as Diane said, like art that is really crypto native, on-chain, where you can also have evolving NFTs like Daniel Asham, but really do something about exhibitions that are time limited and bring them on-chain to live forever. And this I found very interesting with the DNA of Alicia Quade, because it's so natural in a way to bring this project on-chain. So we see a lot of options also for artists who have never worked with NFTs before, and I encourage everyone to just try and test it.
Kerstin, what makes a good art NFT for you?
What else is left? Well, having just done a survey on and examining if there might be differences between art NFTs and collectibles, I would add that first and foremost, it needs to resonate as art, as art does in general. It has to appeal to me. It has to change something, to challenge me, to not let loose anymore. And I think I would bring it down to that requires a very artistic concept, a very strong artistic concept, which is somehow linked to a creative and innovative play with the technology itself. So I would say there needs to be a sense that the artist has made a decisive decision to use the technology as a medium. And that in sum, to me, makes a good art NFT. And also, I mean, amongst us as a group, when doing the report, we found that this actually puts it closer, maybe even to fine art, rather than to NFTs in general. And obviously, you can own it. I mean, I think that's important if you talk about art and good art.
Yeah, I think, thank you. I think we opened up with this question, what makes a good art NFT for you? Because we think it is good to, in our talk, it is about art NFT collecting. Therefore, it was important that we all speak at least in the same direction, because I think there are definitions and everybody can have its own. But I think it was good to get the vibes, what we all think about it. And based on, also on the Art and Tech report, but also on the experience that we have, or we might have, or you might also have, is the question, is it really about art? So with art NFTs, it is first and foremost all about art. Would you agree to that, that they exist because it's the appreciation of the art? Kerstin, what do you say to that?
Well, on a personal level, I would repeat what I just said, but then looking from the report perspective, I'm not the only one. So we had 90% of our respondents, and we surveyed over 300 traditional and art NFT collectors, and we had 90% of them confirming they do primarily choose, buy, and collect art NFTs because of the appreciation of art. That art is what counts most for them, and second, actually, the second reason was to see some creative use of the blockchain technology. So yes, from a report point of view, it was art which has been put at the core of art NFT collecting, and we think that is a very obvious indication that there is a difference between NFTs in general and art NFTs, because the utility here is art. There's an intrinsic value to the object, and it's not about primarily added values, but the art itself.
Would this surprise you, Anna, that almost 90% of the collectors say that it's about art.
No, absolutely not. And this is also why I started at misa.art, because I wanted to take this move from the PFP projects to the more art-related NFTs. And I also find it very, very sustainable, also learning from the traditional art world, which is, of course, connected. But, you know, last year when I started in 2021, we had these two parties. On one side, the traditional art space that said, oh my goodness, NFTs, what's that? Kind of crazy. And on the other side, the NFT space, which was also kind of, we don't want galleries anymore. And now I think that we really try to connect these two worlds and see that there's a lot of enhancement on both sides, bringing also fine art into the NFT space more and more. And what I also feel is that even the artists are looking for curation, and I think the Art and Tech report showed us that this curation still counts a lot, not only for the collector, but also for the artists who see that in this open space there is so much that we need some guidance. And this is, I think, what we as a curated platform can deliver, and why it makes sense to have this term of art NFTs or digital art, which I, at the moment, even prefer to talk about, because for many people, NFT is still a term that they can't really relate to, but digital art, as I have seen in our real-life exhibitions, makes it a lot more relatable for many people to see, okay, this is art that I can buy, that I can own, if it's on the blockchain, and how this all works, I personally feel is not that important as the art itself.
Yeah, Diane, is this the same when you look from the Tezos ecosystem perspective? How much is it about the art in the system or in the world?
Well, it's very much
the whole world.
Yeah, it's very much about the art, definitely. It's about the concept, it's about the people, but it's also very much about the community. You collect and you create also because you want to be part of a community. Collecting NFT art is actually a culture, is a habit. You support an artist, you support someone, you support a cause. You say something when you actually acquire one NFT and then you keep it in your collection. So many collectors that are not also producers are really exhibiting, and they're so proud of their collections. They say something and they start to be curators as well. And they exhibit their collections. It's a precious word. And being part of a community, saying something, supporting someone is also a huge drive for NFT artists, like especially on the Tezos ecosystem.
Yeah, I think I have to say this is also what we experience, and I actually haven't introduced myself. I'm Johanna, but you can see it also from also Art and Tech Report and IMPART. And what we also experience is this transparency of the wallets, so you can check out what else the other people are collecting, and I think this is very exciting. And you figure out whom you are close to in the taste, and therefore this is what you say, it starts this community level. But you said it's so nice to collect the NFTs, but when you speak with people, and we figured out in the Art and Tech report, there were also a lot of people who answered our survey who did not have NFTs, art NFTs yet. And they were very much not doing it also because of speculation. And it was, on the other hand, we found out how much is it about speculation. So Kerstin, you are my Art and Tech report voice. So what does the survey say? But I mean, I'm really curious as well, your also the perspectives from the both of you as well.
I think it's fair to say that when we started off the project that the questions around speculations and flipping were quite important to us personally, because we really wanted to understand how much is this driven by speculation as well. So during the questionnaire, we made sure we had hidden questions regarding speculative goals everywhere. So, but that also leads to the clear answer that 75% of the people said it's not the main decision or not the main motivation for collecting art NFTs. So they clearly said it's not about speculative goals or investment or diversifying your portfolio. And that again sets it apart from NFTs in general. And equally, we had a lot of people who were already quite affine to the art NFT as a field, as a topic, but haven't started yet collecting. And when being asked about what the main barriers are for not collecting yet, it's actually been the misconception, this is all about speculation. And once I enter the space, this is all about profit, and all the people I'm going to be surrounded with are going to be flippers or speculators. So there seems to be a huge barrier to enter the game, which is kind of a pity, because now we have on paper that it actually isn't. And again, there is a difference to not regular NFTs, but any other NFTs in general, so there is a difference, and it's fair to say art NFT collectors are less flippers or speculators, but maybe more hodl collectors.
Yeah, Diane, do you agree? What is your experience, and how do you speak with, or what conversations would you have with art NFT collectors? Is it similar to what we found out in the report?
Well, it's actually quite different, because on Tezos it's super easy to start collect with only a few cents. You can start collecting an NFT, and also because we have this culture and this habit of celebrating, so we keep organizing these. Like it's not we, it's actually the whole community organizing some celebration during a weekend where people are actually minting NFTs at very large editions but very low prices, just to actually get rid of this first ticket, or this first high expensive barrier that could actually stop people from collecting. And it's just such a beautiful moment where in all the ecosystem for 48 hours or 72 hours, like everyone is minting really with low prices, and everyone is starting to collect. And you can start to collect very famous artists, artists being part of museum collections, or very new ones as well. And it's like the last one was at the beginning of May, around I think it was 2,600 new NFTs were minted, and 60,000 NFTs were actually collected in 3 days, and it was called Tezos for Tezos. And it is easy actually to start collecting art on Tezos, and that's really part of the culture. So yeah, everyone can start becoming an art collector with €1, or actually €2 now.
This is a question that is also very interesting for galleries and gallery systems. Everyone is a collector. Wow, this is a totally new world. You will take everybody who enters the space, and it's probably a Web3 space, very serious. Anna, maybe that's also good handing over to you. You have been at OMR last week, or 2 weeks ago, with misa.art, and what conversations did you have with probably, let's say, money-driven, investment-driven people? I'm not saying that they all were like that, but I'm sure you had some conversations in the direction. So which art NFT should I buy, and is it worth it, the money? And so, yeah, I'm really interested.
Yeah, speaking of OMR, that's interesting, because we had 2 collections specially made for the OMR, and one was low priced. You could buy one edition of 10 for €250. The other one was at €2,500. Both were sold out in the end. So, but coming back to this flipping aspect, I think this is very interesting also to talk from our perspective, because yeah, I started in December, but the platform was already established in August, and basically there was no option to trade at all, and people are very calm still. We started minting on Flow, which I have switched to Ethereum and Polygon now, because it's tradable everywhere. But okay, that's another story. But from what I have learned is that especially our traditional collectors who are really collecting art, they are not looking for a quick flip. Although, in my opinion, even this thing is not only speculation, because through the royalties, the artist is always included also in that flipping aspect. So for the artists, sometimes I have talked to some whose artworks are never sold, like Matthew Stone, for example. You can check him on OpenSea. People just want to own these NFTs, and they do not trade it at all. So yeah, he is not in favor of getting any royalties for that. So there are two sides of the story, I think. And also, I wanted to cheer on Diane, because I think that Tezos really opened the space for art NFTs, for making it very, very accessible for many people to collect art in a way that they have never done before. And we as a gallery also collect on Tezos, by the way, because there are many, many cool artists, and yeah, you can support. And I think it's also, for some, it's kind of a playground to just figure out where I want to go. I have one friend who does it like this, like more experimental things he puts on Tezos, and the others on Ethereum. So I think also for the artists, it's a way of having different ways of expressing themselves. But yes, for the OMR, I can say it was as expected, that more like the decorational art went very, very well. So animated 3D art, but that was, as I said, kind of expected in a way, but we had very, very good talks there. And yeah, I was happy. For me, this is cool, just to open the space. You know, our claim is democratize art, open to the space to as many people as we can, explain, educate, and this is how we can spread the word.
Yeah, thank you. I was on a panel with Harm van den Dorpel yesterday, and there was a very nice word for the flipping, or the flippers. They were not the flippers, they were the very fast art dealers. And I think this is very interesting to think like that, because if you come and think a little bit from the traditional art world, this is like the most horrible person you would sell a work to. And now it suddenly becomes a new role, probably. We will, I think, go deeper into that later. But from after Diane said already how many NFTs were minted and how many people collected these NFTs, of course it arises with also these new platforms, marketplaces and anything. Do we need more curation? And if, how? Diane.
Yeah, we definitely need more curation. We need more curated places as well. We need more galleries. We need more collectors sharing their collections. We need more space for everyone. I feel that for the past 1 year and a half, we had a lot of space for artists, a few spaces for curators, and of course a lot of space for collectors. But we should give them more voices, more place, so they can express themselves even more. And like, for instance, on Tezos, Graf is actually about to come, and then Admire, which will be also a huge marketplace only for galleries. So more and more of these marketplaces will come and create the bridge between the traditional art market and the NFT art market, if we can call it this way. So yeah, we need more space, and we need also more physical spaces, more physical exhibitions, places where we can meet, places where we can interact with the artwork. Like, if you talk about generative art, you can actually set up really, really fun interactive pieces where you can mint directly one generative art on your phone in front of a physical piece. And that's the kind of modules that we are actually working on for Art Basel in Hong Kong and Art Basel in Basel. Because, generative art is actually, and it's also what FXS is doing very well. You have this reveal moment where you mint, and then it's all this kind of ritual where you see what you actually got. You can get the same feeling and the same experience in real life. So, yeah, we need more spaces, and also physical spaces for.
Yeah, I of course totally agree. And as we did an exhibition with Office IMPART in early the year with 9 mostly generative or digital artists, and we also showed it physically in our space. It was a collaboration with Punke Gallery. They had the same show on as well, and with JPEG Space. So we tried out these spaces, and our experience was the same. We need we need the spaces, but I think to the curation, we also need the discussions about it and the exchange about it. And Kerstin, what does the report say? So that's always nice, I can say Kerstin. But what does the report say, and what do you make out of that?
Well, actually, the report gives you guys... I'm sorry, the report gives you guys all the figures you just described and defined in general. So, of course, we have been asking about curation, and I think it's important to note that it's a weird question in general to ask for any curational demands from a consumer or collector side, because we are still talking Web3, right? Which is rooted in decentralized, no gatekeeping principles. But anyway, we ask for collectors' demands, and it was top reason number 1 and 2 what they answered that they would love to see is more curation and more exhibition making. And for the active art NFT collectors, those ones already very actively collecting, they said more curation and exhibition making will actually animate them to buy more, to get deeper into the game, to enlarge in the collections. But equally, those respondents who did not start collecting yet, but were somehow interested, said the 2 main reasons to motivate them to start collecting would be curation and more exhibition making. So there were 2 bold answers for curation and exhibition making, but again, we know that it somehow clashes with the ideal of no gatekeeping and no middlemen. So it'll be interesting to see how this can be catered for without giving away what we all appreciate and stand for in the space in general. And adding to the IRL element, we also ask people, but obviously ask where art NFTs are being stored at the moment, and no surprises here, art NFTs are primarily stored in wallets right now, but most of the respondents said they plan to do so differently in the future. And this could be either being digitally in terms of own digital exhibitions or virtual museums and galleries, but then also we had a very strong field of answers moving around ideas like printing work out to hang it in the living room, or to look for real hardware, which is really hard to find right now, to display the work in real life. So when we picture that art NFTs are slowly coming out of the wallet and having a place in the physical world, I think it's only logic to start thinking about curation and exhibition making. And also coming from a traditional art market point of view, I think that makes roles for galleries and institutions still somehow relevant.
Yeah, just saying, if you haven't seen the Kevin Bosch exhibition at the Nagel und Rexler Gallery, he is an amazing digital artist, and he's also a painter. And actually, this exhibition, we were all hoping, we were all thinking, assuming that we will find only NFT art, but it's only paintings. So yeah, because a lot of traditional artists are actually starting to meet NFTs, this connection could actually be amplified even more with physical places.
But that's very personal, but I think it's an interesting insight that we tend to realize that immateriality to art NFTs does not seem to be as important like the immateriality bit to any other digital asset. So it's maybe another difference to NFTs in general.
Yeah, this was a question that we already, of course, discussed by analyzing the report, is how are art NFTs closer to art or to NFTs? And maybe we go later a little bit into that, but Anna, Anna up there, I always look up because you're on the screen there as well. How do you curate at misa.art, or how important is curation, and how do you do it?
Exactly. I think that we also have to look for what curation means, as Kerstin said, in this new space. And compared to the traditional art world, it will be different. I think what curation means, and why so many people in the report also stated that they want curation, is that they want orientation, that they want to have something they can rely on, because as I said, there in 2021 you had so many scammers coming up. So curation means that I look for something that is sustainable and that will be there also maybe in 2 or 3 years. And I think this is what we look for, and you can also make this more transparent through all the tools that already exist. When you check our website, there are different sites that like count what the artist has already been exhibiting, all these facts, as you would say. Nonetheless, I'm also always looking for new upcoming artists, as I said at the beginning, innovative aspects, like for generative art. Many have not even been exhibiting in the past, and I think this is also something that should be trackable in the future for museums, etc. When my artwork has been exhibited, at the moment it just happens. There's no record on the NFT itself that says, oh, this has been exhibited there and there and there. I think that would give extra value, and I hope that there will be tools very, very soon that give us an overview of how these artworks have been represented in the real world as well, because it would even give a better connection, not only the real world, but also the metaverses, etc., etc. And this will give an additional credibility to the NFT for sure.
Thank you. I really like this idea to get provenance on the blockchain as well, which of course in a way makes sense. I quickly asked Diane to that question. Do you know if that is already existing in the Tezos ecosystem? Because
Not already existing, but definitely some people are working on a smart contract where you can add more metadata. Just also, most of the time when you actually acquire an NFT, there is no guidelines on how to use this NFT, how to exhibit it. You know, some artists, maybe they don't want to have this NFT being exhibited in a real place, they just want virtual places. So there is no real data, metadata, everything which is also giving some value and some conceptual meaning to the art is actually not being transferred with the NFT. So having more rich smart contracts is definitely something that some people are working on. And also what you just pointed, Anna, is definitely something that we were also discussing, being able to, you know, really trace where the NFT was exhibited, being able to know exactly who was the first collector, knowing that one museum acquired one NFT will actually bring more value to this NFT, etc., etc. So that's definitely more metadata in the smart contract is something that people are working on.
If I may add, one of our collectors who bought the Graphic Anadol last year, I don't know if you had heard about it, it was a big auction in December. He really transfers it to the museum's wallet that it will be exhibited next, so that it has this provenance. But I think that most collectors will never ever do this, because then it has to be transferred to another wallet. So we need other options to somehow make it trackable on chain, and it's cool that people are already working on that. I know that for sure, and I hope that it will really come out very soon, because I have also seen like collectors who were not happy that NFTs were exhibited without any record or anything, and they saw it and they're, what? Why don't you even give credit? So it's still the Wild West there too. And I think with the bear market, we can exactly work on these things and make it even more valuable. This is why I personally find that the bear market gives a lot of opportunities, especially for art NFTs and everything that we can still explore here, because we are still at the very, very beginning.
I think it's very interesting also maybe for the audience that our conversation is going into the direction that we are really talking about art at the moment, and the technology helps digital artists to have a presence and have a way to exhibit, but probably also to, not probably, but especially to sell their works and to hand their works over to collectors. And it's interesting because I said before, are the art NFTs closer to art than to NFTs? And that brings me to a question where I think it is important to think about the fact, Diane was talking about it at the beginning, about communities. Because are there new roles? If we look from the traditional art perspective, what are the new roles in this game? And how can how can the art world, let's not say traditional or classical, but that, because we just talk about art the whole time here, how can the art world adapt formats or tendencies from the art NFT world or from the NFT world, such as communities. Therefore, I really would like to say or question what role does communities play? And maybe we start again with what the Art and Tech report found out from the art collectors or art NFT collectors, and go from there.
Yes, well, obviously community plays a big role amongst art NFT collectors as well. We had 60% saying that this forms one of the reasons why people get into art NFT collecting. But then we had comparisons to other motivations, and it was not the strongest one. So I would say the community bit amongst art NFT collectors rather refers to the direct contact to the artist than to a status level in terms of I have a piece of a certain collection, so I'm part of the very particular fancy community. So it's more about direct artist support, and also coming from a traditional art market point of view, it's very unusual and very hard to have direct access to traditional artists normally. You either have to go to galleries or you have to sneak into the ateliers, whereas now you have direct contact to the artists, which is really nice. And we hear that there are really strong bondings, and you have direct contact to the artists. So I think it forms a kind of loyal communities, and it makes it easier for the artists to actually take care of their art and also the business side directly, which is a completely new level to how art dealing has been done for 50 years in the physical world.
Diane, communities, how important are they in the Tezos ecosystem, but how do you see maybe new rules coming up for the art market?
I'm not so sure I know where it's actually going, but I know it's such a big driving force. So many small communities, grassroots communities are actually really creating, new trends or new exhibitions, new art collective, new art residencies. They are really pushing and supporting. I feel all these communities are all about support. They are guiding, they are onboarding, they are advising. They are actually giving this translation that so many artists need. They are, it's a lot of hand-holding, and it's really about people to people, more than artist to artist, even. But knowing where it's going in the art market, like as Anna said, is just really the beginning, and I don't know. Let's see where all these grassroots communities will go, but it's definitely something which is full of diversity. I'm not so sure we will be able to talk about one art market. The way that we understand the art market from our perspective is very special and very different from so many other regions, and especially the Tezos community is so diverse. My own perspective of the art market doesn't mean much when you talk to someone coming from Colombia, coming from the Philippines, or coming from India. I was speaking with my colleagues yesterday at Tezos India, and they actually see the art market in such different way. So I think diversity in all the sense of the terms is really what will define the art market. So yeah, my own perspective won't actually give you any clue.
That's exciting. Anna, at misa.art, I have the feeling there's coming up a trend to check out how communities work in the NFT space, transferring it into physical drops of physical artworks. Is this an adaptation that comes from the community idea from the NFT crowd that is going slowly into the traditional art market world?
Yeah, I think that we ourselves see us more as a connector in the creator economy. You see, coming from Web 2, where we had all these social platforms and every creator was on the platforms using them, we can now move to the creator themselves being the one who gets the royalties, who gets the money, and we try to connect these spaces more and more. So I think this is what Web3 is about, the internet of values, and the creator economy will grow even more. And we ourselves are in the very good position to connect supply and demand still, and see how this all interacts. And of course, we can adapt from one world to the other in both sides. And this is the good thing about having all these different verticals with fine art, prints, editions, NFTs, and soon fractionalized art. We can really test ourselves on all these fields and see how the community reacts, and how it also grows together. We can learn from the mistakes that we have made and grow together. And I think this is what we should all be aiming at still, because as I said, we are still in the beginning, and growing together is the best thing always in life.
Yeah, what I also felt and saw, and what we also experienced with Office IMPART, and maybe Anna, I want to ask you another question, because how the collectors with each other communicate. How do you see, or do you see that there is a more transparent way to let others know what they just bought? Because we have the feeling, or we realize that when you buy a physical art piece, you're not posting on Twitter immediately that you got one of the pieces, and you're the lucky one who got the one that everybody seemed to want. And in the art collecting or art NFT collecting communities on Twitter, it's different. Do you have the same experience? Do you think this is also an impact that you are, of course, supporting with the marketplace?
I am even hoping for more and more of these shareable content, because this is exactly what it should be about. For many things that we transport into the NFT space, it should be like I, for example, I felt very happy, and I started collecting prints from the moment I worked for Misa, interestingly, because I just loved the artist, like John Bergerman. I first bought his NFT, and then there was a printed edition. I was like, oh my God, I have to get this one too. And so, as I said, for me, it's especially what you say, be happy about owning something from an artist that you really love. Also the same with Refik Anadol. I'm proud to have like hand signatured editions from him. It's really, for me, hand signed editions. It's something that I feel very proud of, and that I'd also love to share with people. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I just had a quick look at the time, and maybe I will come to the last question, but we spoke a little bit about it in the community, and from the community perspective. But yeah, where do we stand now in the art world, in the art market, with these new technologies arising, with digital art becoming a medium such as painting, or even more present? Looking at the numbers from all the art market reports, how much money is made in the last year with digital art. Kerstin, maybe also from a perspective as a strategic consultant in the art market, what is to come? What is there to come?
I don't know, but it'll be interesting. But I think one of the main success stories here is that we have seen the rise, not of a new, but the arrival of a new fine art category becoming part of the market in the Canaan, and digital art being ownable, and digital collecting is possible. So I think that is a huge step for the market in general. But of course, this brings new collectors or new collector bases, and which can also enlarge the market in general, which is not a bad thing for this market. But this all summed up together, I think, will change the dynamics of the traditional art world like we were used to. And you, with a very progressive gallery model, might not be concerned very much, but I assume many market players will be, because it's changing mechanism, it's bringing in more transparency. So I think many of the techniques of the last 50 years of this market will be challenged, and that will lead to new players and new spaces for sure. And then also, I think there's going to be a new axis between digital and analog, which is hopefully not going to be a separation anymore in the future, but tends together, and we'll see more physical approaches how to link both worlds to make them more experienceable, maybe. So I think from a market perspective in general, it'll be enlarged and it'll be challenged, and that's a good thing.
Diane, from the Tezos ecosystem, and then I changed the slides a little bit so that you know who's here and what might be the perspectives that the future will bring in the art world. I know it's a very hard question, and I think you already answered it in a way. But yeah, what is the vision that you with Tezos work on in arts and culture?
Yeah, indeed, I said it before, more diversity, it's more decentralized, it's more flat, less barriers, it's more, maybe there is more ethics as well and equity as well. And to be honest, like we are all shaping what will become a Web3 future, and I hope it will be a better one, a good one. And because it's more about people, it's more so about, like in the Tezos community, it's much more about values, and it's much more about the causes, it's much more about social good and environmental justice and social causes. Because we have this diversity of people, first, and because finally everyone can actually have a voice. The less represented voices now have a space, and then they can finally create and express themselves. So I believe it's more, yeah, definitely more diversity and more decentralization.
Thank you. And Anna, you are with misa.art on a mission, and where is it going, and what will the future in the art bring with democratizing the arts?
Hopefully more collectors, more artists, but I also have to say it's okay if you as an artist do not get into the NFT space because you have been a traditional artist, a painter, whatever. Not everyone needs to be in there. This has always been like the same. You have a new technology that comes into the world, like the same with photography. And everyone's like, oh my God, so shocked. And then there's a hype, and then it starts slowly evolving. And this is what I really want to be part of the slowly evolving mode where we discover new things, where we merge things, where we bring this technology just as a baseline, that is not like in the front line, you know, this is not what it's about. It's more about what new options do we have with these technologies, also on-chain, not only generative art, but I think there will be a lot more, as Diane also said, bringing it into the code, bringing it on-chain, and starting from there. And this is what I really want to see. And then this interconnection of having an artist also doing prints, fine art, being in all these different sections and having all these options. I think this is what we can really offer now, being together in this community and sharing all the thoughts, ideas. And this is the exciting moment of being so early in the space.
And I think you've brought something for everybody who wants to stay in touch and be part of that community, right? So, yeah. And yeah, so this is the QR code from misa.art, right?
Yeah, I would love if you want to stay informed with us. We had this at the OMR2 worked very well. Just, I mean, it's the comeback of the QR code since COVID. This is so interesting. People suddenly started using QR codes again. So yeah, we are using this too also for the artworks. Makes it simple to just scan them. And for us, we make it also very accessible. You do not even need crypto to buy NFTs at misa.art. You can also buy with PayPal and credit card. And this is also a way of democratizing this space for people who feel like, oh my goodness, do I have to buy Ethereum, Tezos now first? No, you don't. We try to make it as simple as possible to access every form of art.
Yeah, and this is just the website to the Art and Tech report. Maybe for everyone who is interested to check out the report, it's free on the website, and there is a full version to download. I think we ran a little bit out of time. We plan to do a Q&A, but I guess we would do it one by one. I think we are still here. Anna, you know how to reach her at misa.art, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much, Diane, Anna, Kerstin, for joining in, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.